Hinduism multiplied its gods to uncountable millions, and the Buddha was reducing them to next to nothing, elsewhere, a very different idea about the nature of God emerged. In Iran, a prophet called Zoroaster, or Zarathustra, proclaimed that there is only one God, Ahura Mazda, the wise Lord, and that mankind had to choose between him and the forces of darkness. If you're a Jew, a Christian, or a Muslim, you'll quickly recognize the essence of Zoroaster's teaching. We're not put on earth to feed the gods, or to seek enlightenment. We are here to take part in a cosmic moral battle between good and evil. Around his waist. They represent the essence of Zoroastrianism: good words, good thoughts, and good actions. Now the priest calls upon Behrouz to dedicate himself to Ahura Mazda, the wise Lord, the god of the Zoroastrian faith. And so this thoroughly modern teenager binds himself to a tradition stretching back thousands of years. Iran today is dominated by Islam, a fiercely monotheistic religion dedicated to the principle that there is only one true God. But in Isfahan in central Iran, the remains of a fire temple remind us that people here accepted one true God centuries before Islam. Compared to the Buddha, we know little about the prophet Zoroaster. Some say he lived 3,000 years ago, others 2,000 years earlier. We do know he was an Aryan Brahmin, or priest, dedicated to the service of the gods of fire, storm, sky, and lightning. But that changed when he experienced a moment of enlightenment every bit as profound as the Buddha's. The story goes that Zoroaster was standing knee-deep in an icy-cold river, drawing water for a religious ceremony, when he had his moment of revelation. The pantheon of Aryan gods and the religious rituals that went with them were all a terrible mistake. There was a simpler, purer truth. There was only one God, Ahura Mazda, the wise Lord. All the other gods were devas, devils. At the heart of Zoroaster's teaching was the idea of a titanic struggle between the wise mind of Ahura Mazda and the angry mind of Ahriman, a kind of black hole of ignorance and darkness. Each of us has the free will to decide which side we take in this struggle. But the choices we make have consequences not just for ourselves, but for the world in which we live.
Now, forces of evil, yes, they are active in this world, and they're trying to always deceive us, but he says that this is Zarathustra recommends that we should be on the side of Ahura Mazda, do the right thing, and little by little the forces of evil will disappear. We have to side with Ahura Mazda. We are not the servant of Ahura Mazda. We are not his slave or anything like that. We are his co-worker. And the ultimate result of us working with God is to bring about a state of freshness. He uses the word freshokerti, which means to refreshing the world, to making the world a better place and overcome evil. This is the purpose of life in Zoroastrianism.
Zoroastrians don't believe in reincarnation. The moment of death is the moment of truth, when the choices you've made in your life determine your fate in an afterlife. Those who have chosen good are welcomed into the house of happiness. Those who have chosen evil fall into a fiery pit. When Zoroastrians died, they couldn't be buried or cremated, as this would defile the sacred elements of earth and fire. So they left the dead in hilltop enclosures called Towers of Silence. Suspended between heaven and hell, the corpses would be consumed by vultures, a sacred bird in the eyes of the Zoroastrians.
As your body became carrion, your soul stood before God, its fate depending on the choices you made between good and evil.
Zoroastrians in Iran don't expose their dead anymore. Islam insists on its own rules on how the dead should be treated. So instead they're buried in the shadow of the towers, which are no longer silent, but which echo to the roar of the local bikers. In the land of its birth, Zoroastrianism is under siege, a fact that saddens those who fought hard to keep it alive there.
What makes me sad about being lost to the world is that God is made out of little parts like us. God is the combination of all of us. You can't analyze God. You can't define God. When someone says God is love, one is justice, one says wisdom. I think we're helping each other in understanding God. And the more you lose, like, the more religions you lose, the more understanding of God is lost. Then it becomes dangerous. Then you have one or two gods remaining, and then you have a lopsided God.
Zoroastrianism may be under pressure, but its ideas about God are still very much with us. The world's great monotheistic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, would all agree with Zoroaster's view of the ultimate purpose of our life on earth.
Zoroaster taught that life was a preparation for death, a belief that became the cornerstone of many monotheistic religions. One God, one life, one judgment day.
If you're interested in how spiritual themes are explored through music and literature, you can catch up with Radio 4's programme, Something Understood, by logging on to bbc.co.uk/radio.